right, my friends, here we are back on another episode of the Tyler Hill podcast with my friend Brooke. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. There's so much I want to talk about, and we could hit so many things. I think we are kindred spirits in so many ways. We're so different in so many ways. You have so much to offer. But we are obviously more than what we do, than the projects we've started, the businesses we have. We are regular people. And what I would love to know, Brooke, let's say for a second, you've got a weekend, you've got a couple extra $100 all to yourself, you've got all the time in the world. How is Brooke Mikulas spending that time all by
Mm.
herself? She gets to engage her hobbies, her truest self. What is she up to?
Well, I think it would definitely, so by myself, that means like no kids, like my husband has the kids.
Sure.
Or, I mean, ideally I would like have one day with my family, where I do have my husband with me so we can, kind of tag team the kiddos. And then a day to myself, which we actually incorporate this into our family rhythm currently. So once a month, Bobby and I each take a day to ourselves. We call it a solo day, but we spell it SOULO.
Love it.
Um, and and that day is just for us to like fill our buckets back up. And so typically that looks like I go on a long hike, or if it's in the winter, let's go snowshoeing or something like that. Um, I'm down for a good movie in an air-conditioned theater with a recliner, like I'm not above that for a rest day. And then I almost always go thrifting. I love to thrift. Like there is in my mind like just nothing better than finding something for $1 that's worth like 100,
I love it.
Yeah. So I
Well,
have a blast.
what's the
Some good
trick?
food, some good coffee.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
What's the thrifting trick? You love it, you do it. What's the thrifting 101 from the expert Brooke on thrifting well?
Well, have you ever heard of the bins?
Tell us about the bins.
Okay, so the bins is at their most cities have it. It's a Goodwill outlet. So um it's where all the things go that didn't get sold from all the Goodwills in the area. And they put them in these bins. And it seriously is like a sport. Like you have to show up, you have to know what you're doing. You need closed-toed shoes. You can't bring kids. And they actually have like employees that act as referees. And so they'll be like, and new bins are in, ready, set, go. And then people just go nuts, like finding all these incredible things. And it's you buy it by weight, not by
Interesting.
item. And so I have found so many incredible things. I mean, amazing like sports gear, clothes, you name it. Like I love it. All
I
of it.
love that.
Yeah.
Um, so here at the podcast, like we talk about all sorts of stuff. And you are so interesting. And I think you live a life, as we'll find out, that people are curious about. You and your family just collect stories and memories. You take big risks. And we'll get into some of those stories as we go along. But I think what I'd love to do is before we get into those stories, have would you consider yourself somebody who has always been like such a risk taker, such a story collector? Like, have you always been somebody that chases wonder the way you do? Like, before we get to all the cool shit, like how were you formed? What were you like as a younger Brooke? What
Hmm.
formed you to become the person and the mom and the entrepreneur and the creative thrifter and just all the things that make you you? Have you always been this way? What was it like growing up as it pertains to who you have become? To give us a good platform as we talk about who you have become.
Yeah, great question. I mean, I was born in California, moved to Colorado when I was 2, and my both of my parents are entrepreneurs. So I think that is part of it, is I always saw that risk taking growing up. And you also know my brother very well. He and I are both Enneagram threes, which is kind of funny, being siblings as that, but I don't know, there's something in us that has that. achiever, risk-taking thing. And I think, I started dating my husband when I was 15 in high school, and he is also a risk taker, and both of his parents are entrepreneurs. So, like, literally, there just isn't another example for us other than like, just go for it, just try it. And we say probably every day at some point, one life to live. Like it, there's no reason not to try. And so I think, just the thread of our lives over the course of time has just been, why not? Like, let's just give it a try. We have one life to live.
Yeah. What were some of those examples maybe set from your parents that, as you recall, growing up as a risk taker,
Mhm.
entrepreneur, like, was there just like, I'm curious what stories maybe you still carry or remember from your younger years that have continued to inform how you guys live today?
Yeah, I mean, my dad had a custom home business, building like he was a contractor, and he built just some incredible custom homes. And I would watch him in his office at his drawing board, like, architecting them, designing all the rooms. My mom in that process, helping with the interior design. Like they just were such an incredible team. And spec homes are a huge risk to take
Mm,
because you're taking on all of this debt for this home that you're hoping someone is going to love one day. You're pouring your heart and soul and finances into this thing just to hope like in a couple years someone's going to buy it. So I saw that happen over and over. And my parents ran an incredible company. They went through recessions. We had really hard times. We had really good times. I was often on property, sweeping up the drywall with my dad and picking up screws outside. And I have fond memories of kind of working with my parents. And then my mom started her own real estate brokerage and was very successful with that. And I don't know, my parents are amazing. They did some really hard stuff and they went through some really hard stuff and they have figured out how to endure through all of it. So incredible examples for me and my brother growing up.
So can you remember at all like the time where you like started to like my son already he's starting to flip stuffies. He's been selling stuffies to his like roommates and or to like the kids in the neighborhood, not his roommates, the kids in the
I was like, wait, he
neighborhood.
has roommates?
You know, his sister. He would try to sell something to his sister if he could too.
Yeah.
He's already hustling. I saw a really fun Instagram of your kids trying to sell one of their toys right now.
Yeah.
Um, do you remember like your first entrepreneurial endeavor, the
Oh,
first
yeah.
time where you had the bug and you were like ready to go for it?
I mean, like so many kids, I started my own pet sitting company when I was in sixth grade. And I remember like sitting on my front porch and I recruited all these animals to like sit on my lap. So I had like a dog and rabbits and like I just was like holding all of these
Yeah.
animals, was like pretending like I knew how to care for so many different things.
Hmm.
But I put together this flyer and I went around to, my whole neighborhood, like dozens and dozens of houses, dropped off the flyer, and I got so many gigs from that. Like, and I feel like I don't remember putting a rate, like what my rate was to actually take care of people's homes or pets. But like some people would give so much money because
Totally.
they had no idea, like, oh, it's a 12-year-old, So I'd walk away with like $300 after a few days. Like, how's $100 a day? It's like, yeah, that's sufficient. That should be fine,
I love that.
So yeah.
So then you meet Bobby. Bobby is your husband. You guys are 15, you said when you met?
Yep, we met in high school through a mutual friend and she introduced us. And I mean you'll appreciate this. I was really into Chacos. And back then like they weren't really cool. Like you kind of were a nerd if you wore them to school and stuff.
Yeah.
And I had bright pink ones and I wore them to school like every day and I loved
Love
them.
it.
And I remember saying, if there's ever a guy that walks into my school, we had 2,000 people. We were at Lewis Palmer High School. We had 2,000 people at our school. I was like, if any guy ever walks into this school with chacos on, like he's my guy. And I will never forget seeing Bobby Mikulas walk into the school with chacos on. And I was like, who's this guy? who's this guy?
So good.
So, anyways, long story short, we started dating and we got married 5 years later. We're celebrating our 15-year anniversary next week.
So
Just,
good.
yeah, I know.
So good. 15 years.
Yep.
Um, so you guys get married. You're both adventurous, risk takers, the whole thing. When did that start to like manifest in your relationship? Like, what were some of those like original, maybe like newlywed again, like F it, one life to live, let's
Yeah.
go. When did that start to play out in your young marriage?
I mean, I think it started playing out in our dating. Like we loved just Colorado is so much fun.
Yeah.
We played. Like we just had so much fun. Hiking, tons of 14ers, just getting outside. Um, and I don't know, like I think it's what brings us to life. Like
Hmm.
there anything that is like risk taking, outdoors, fresh Colorado mountain air, like anything that is going to bring us back to
Yeah.
life, like we're in it for that. And so I think that was always a thread of our relationship, something that drew us together and drew really like help us fall in love. And the formation of our relationship was friendship. And so I think that has kind of played out over the course of time.
So I'm going to ask this probably a few different ways over the course of our time together. But even as you sit here, so you're 15 years old, you find this guy, um, you guys get married after a couple years. You both had entrepreneurial parents. You both had these examples of how to risk it to like make the most of life. For
Mhm.
somebody, like I think of just so many of my clients who don't have parents like that, who don't
Yep.
find a Bobby or Bobby doesn't find a Brooke,
Hmm.
that can help empower that. But they would look at people like you who have traveled the world, started hotels, do consulting, coach, have kids that are fun, who work really hard. What would you say to a 15-year-old or an 18-year-old or maybe even a 30-year-old who's
Yeah.
saying, listen, I had no examples. I don't
Mhm.
believe you that it's even possible. You're just, you had everything given to you because you had all these examples.
Yep.
How would you encourage or what gift would you give to somebody in a situation like that, or that would be communicating that?
That's a great question. And we do get this question quite often. I think, um, you know, and we can talk a little bit more of just like the progression of our story, but um, it has been absolutely critical for us to share our dream and share, like vocalize what we are hoping to bring to fruition. And with the vocalization of, whatever it might be that you're working towards, you then, because you have communicated it, have accountability to actually
Yeah.
um, see it come to fruition.
Mhm.
And so I think, as an example, a hotel. We
Mhm.
had no idea where to start with the
Yeah.
hotel. And, you guys were leading the way with this incredible, innovative coffee shop and one of the best in the country. We wanted to bring something very excellent to
Mhm.
Colorado Springs. We didn't want to half-ass it. We wanted it to be, you know, we wanted it to be good.
Mhm.
And we had no idea where to start. And the only way we were able to pull that off was to bring the community in.
Mhm.
And I think, my biggest word of advice for anyone trying to start something is don't do it alone.
Mhm.
Vocalize what you're doing and get people on board with you. Get the community on board with your vision and your dream. Make sure that you're meeting a need in the community. Find out what the gaps are so that you're able to kind of meet people in the middle there. And what you will find is that your community is going to come on board with you and help you get across the finish line. And there is just absolutely no way we would be where we are today
Mhm.
without community. So
Yeah.
that is by far my answer.
Yeah. How, for somebody who's lonely,
Yep.
somebody who isn't as charismatic as you or I,
Yep.
just to keep pushing here for a second, what if you don't have friends? What if you've felt lonely for quite some time? You're new to a city, but you have a big dream. Where do you find people that can support you in that kind of way? You and I have been here for ages.
Yep.
We've, like, how does somebody start from scratch in building that community or finding someone that could support you in the pursuit of a big dream?
I will say, when we started out on our endeavor, we actually did not know very many people in the business community downtown. Um, Colorado Springs was in kind of an interesting place of, this was 2016. It was still kind of ripe with opportunity. It still is. I mean, honestly, like Colorado Springs is such a unique place because you have an idea and a dream, like you can do it. It's actually, I mean, you will find the support to do it. But we started with some very key relationships, like Downtown Partnership,
Hmm.
Small Business Development Center. Those are
Hmm.
two places that we started. We had absolutely no idea where to start or what to do. And
Yeah.
so, like for instance, the Small Business Development Center, they have 25 incredible volunteers who are all experts in all these different areas. It could be legal, it could be business development, it could be finances, it could be marketing, whatever it is. And these are all experts who
Yeah.
will be your friend through the process. And legitimately, like kinship would not be here today if it weren't for the SBDC and resources like that. So as we kind of got into those meetings, started meeting with people, putting our dream out there, they would then say, have you met with this person?
Yeah.
Have you met with this person? Have you met with this person? And so it really was actually starting from scratch from us and or for us. And I think yeah, you do have to put yourself out there though. Like
Yes.
no one's gonna do it for you. You have to be the one to work hard. You have to be the one to form the relationships. But there are some incredible resources that you can put yourself out there too.
I mean, in short, what I'm really hearing you say it's really twofold. First of all, is you have to articulate the dream, and you
Yep.
have to put it out. You have to put it out there. You
Yep.
can't keep it inside.
Yeah.
Secondly, even if you don't have the people, there are people that will help you find the people. And so
Yes.
to at least go to one place, like helpers want to help. If you can find the
Mhm.
people, they will help you find the people.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
It makes me
Absolutely.
when we were starting Loyal Coffee, same thing. We were, I had opened a cocktail bar with my friends, but we didn't own anything at all.
Hmm.
And we kind of hit a glass ceiling and we're like, no, we can't make any more money. There's no more room for promotions. And we weren't getting to do what we really wanted. And so me and my friends, we just started saying, we're going to open a coffee company. We're going to
Hmm.
start a coffee company. And same thing, we didn't know. We just literally just started saying it.
Yeah.
And then one of my regulars at the cocktail bar I worked with, he came up to me one time and he goes, "So, what do you need to get started?" And I'm just working the bar just on like a Thursday. And I was like, I have no idea. I don't know. And he goes, "But Tyler, what do you need to get started?" And I said, "Bro, like I have no clue." He says, "Okay." And then he pulled out his checkbook. He wrote me a $30,000 check, slid it across the bar, and said, "This will get you started." Which
Mm.
then meant I had to get a bank account because I didn't even think about that. Like, I knew
Yeah.
we need to raise money, but I didn't even think about I had to have a place to put the money if we rate, and that's what started it.
Hmm.
Literally, we were just telling people.
Yeah.
And it was like, and then it started, and then I got a bank account, and then we did the LLC, and then, obviously it snowballed from there. But um
So
so
cool.
we've
I
been
love
talking
it.
about it happens, right? Like there is a magnetization reality to things. Like the more you talk about it, the more people come to you. We become magnets in that regard.
And I do think like there's something to like being confident in your vision. Like if you
Mhm.
have something you want to accomplish,
Yep.
it's not, well, one day I hope to.
Yes.
Like when we're walking into banks and we're 27, 28 years old with zero hospital, like by the way, we had only done nonprofit community development work
Mhm.
up to that point. A couple other little things, but we had to sell ourselves to these banks to help and investors and all these people to convince them that we were the right people to do
Yes.
this. And I just think like we we had to be confident in our vision. We had to say, this is what we are doing. Are
Yep.
you willing to come on board with us?
Mhm.
And there is something to that. When
Yep.
there's hesitancy in, well, one day I'm hoping to accomplish this dream, you're not going to find the same backing because
Mhm.
they don't see the momentum, they don't really understand your vision as much. But when you are clear about what you want to accomplish and what you want to do, it doesn't matter if it's business, if it's whatever it is,
Mhm.
people are going to come on board because you've communicated well what the vision is.
Yes. And for those of you who aren't familiar, really what we're talking about here is Brooke and her husband Bobby had this big vision, and we'll go back to that story. But Brooke and
Sure.
Bobby have started a hotel, a multi-story, immersive hotel in our city. And so for Brooke to say we went from not working in hospitality, not working in hotels, like they literally achieved this dream, took a risk, and in many ways manifested this dream they had from nothing to something. And so let's rewind a little bit
Sure. Yeah.
um,
We kind of
to
jumped
to
ahead.
to hear some more of what got you to that and to what you're even doing. So,
Yeah, sure.
one of the anchor points of your story, as I understand it, is a
Mm-hmm.
trip around the world that you
Mm-hmm.
and Bobby
Yep.
took a handful of years ago.
Yep.
Lead us into how did that dream come about? What did that take to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Just tell us that story for those of us who have never heard that cool part of your life.
I mean, I think it actually starts like our first 5 years of marriage, we lived in community, and that was a very critical piece of our story and how it would kind of play out over the course of time. We had, dozens of roommates over the course of 10 years. We bought a house that was too big for us intentionally so that we could live with people and do life with people. And we would have community nights on a regular basis. And those community nights, I remember one night we had like 150 people show up to our little house in Old Colorado City. And I was like, there is a great chance the house is going to fall down tonight. But hey, we'll have a good story.
Yes.
And we just like the hospitality piece of, getting people connected, helping people find belonging. Like that is our heart for Bobby and I both, which is unique. Like I think it is rare to find a husband and a wife both who have that same desire and
Yes.
passion. And then yeah, when we got married, we said we were gonna save. Again, we were in college, we were in nonprofit and community development work. We we're not trust fund babies. Like we started saving. Sometimes it was a penny a month, legitimately, um, so that we could do this dream of traveling around the world, taking a
Mhm.
year off. And so we finally did that in 2016, 2017. We took a year, we went to 17 different countries, and we experienced what we call outrageous hospitality
Mhm.
all over the world. So our goal was to stay with people, to get to know communities and families. Our goal was to stay in unique concepts like homestays, bungalows, boutique hotels, whatever it might be. I think we stayed in one hotel the entire year,
Yeah.
and someone gifted it to us. And so we're like, of course, yes, we'd be happy to have a nice
Mm.
shower. That would be great. But we really did bootstrap our way through this trip, and it completely changed our lives. If you have, traveled in any way, shape, or form, anyone who has knows like when you experience different cultures, different people, there is a generosity and a hospitality that comes to you that is unmerited. It's not expected, it's not deserved.
Mhm.
And it's just one of the most beautiful things I've ever experienced. And so, um, on the court, like on that trip, we had kind of designated that we were really burnt out from, some of the stuff that we were putting energy to before that. And so we took this trip and we said, first, we're going to rest. We're going to break it up into three groups. We're going to rest, we're going to play, and then we're going to dream. And play and plan. Like what does that look like? So over the course of the trip, I felt like we were very intentional about what was next for us, what we were going to put our energy to, but also gathering inspiration from all the places that we
Mhm.
were, for how are we going to best contribute to Colorado Springs when we get back? What does this look like? Like,
Yeah.
again, we want to bring something excellent. We want to do something excellent. We don't know exactly what that looks like. Um, and but our heart is hospitality and our heart is
Mhm.
Colorado Springs. We love it here. And we want to go back to this place and invest in this place. And so that's what we did after that trip. We came back and we got some job offers, and we turned those job offers down very intentionally and said, we are going to try our hand at this. And if after a year we're not making progress, then we'll go get jobs. But let's at least try. We have to try because we had this idea in our heads of some sort of hospitality concept. And honestly, at the time, it was like a 10-room hostel. Like that was it. It was this tiny little thing. I had like this little business plan and even like my own little drawings of what I thought it could look like. And it was a hostel.
Hmm.
At the time, we didn't have a hostel in Colorado Springs. Uh, and we were thinking, maybe downtown, maybe Old Colorado City. But then we got back and we sat down with anyone who would talk to us about this idea. Um, and I think the biggest thing is we tried to determine what are the gaps in our
Hmm.
city and how can we fill them. So coming with this lens of hospitality, we want to offer just the most outrageous, incredible hospitality to our city, but we also want to be able to meet needs and fill gaps.
Hmm.
We don't want to recreate the wheel. We don't want to compete with other people who are doing incredible things. And so coming with that lens, all of a sudden we were able to get a lot of other opinions and perspectives and ideas
Yep.
infused into this dream.
Yep.
And then the dream just became so much bigger than what we ever
Yes.
anticipated.
Mm. What were some of the stories, you mentioned your life changing on that trip
Mhm.
that informed this big project. Are there any stories that stick out? I'm sure there's myriads that
Yes.
really informed and sparked that fire that still burns inside.
One of the things that we took away from that trip is believing the best in people,
Hmm.
believing that people are good. And
Mm.
you'll see, like, when you walk right into kinship, it says, believe there's good in the world. And like what's highlighted is be the good.
Hmm.
And we gathered that from our trip because they were experiences. Like here's an example. We were staying in Thailand on this in this little beach bungalow, and I again we were bootstrapping this trip. Like we did not have a lot of money for every. We had a budget of $52 a day. That included
Hmm.
lodging, food, everything, experiences. And that, I mean, that does not go far in Europe.
Hmm.
In Southeast Asia, you can easily make that work. But we're in Thailand, and I remember I had $200 in my bag, and all of a sudden it wasn't there. And I was like, I must have left it on the bed in our bungalow.
Hmm.
And so we went to the like manager of the of the bungalow and we said, "Hey, late earlier this morning, I think we had left $200, which is a lot of money
Hmm.
there on our bed. And we're wondering if you might have found it or if your housekeeper might have found it." And he's like, no, no, no one found, he like reached out to his housekeepers. No one found it. We're like, okay, I'm like almost confident that's where it is. So, bummer, whatever, it's fine. We said, no, no worries. Maybe we misplaced it somewhere. It's not a problem. And he says, well, let me make it up to you. Even if it wasn't us, I'm happy to take care of the situation. He puts us in the best, like, sweet house
Hmm.
on the beach for the next 2 nights at no cost, food included. Like, he like went above and beyond to make
Hmm.
like to redeem our experience and make the rest of our stay. He had no idea if his
Yes.
team did it or not.
Hmm.
And it's that kind of thing where it's like it just it's just ingrained in people to
Yes.
give and to be generous and to be hospitable. And after that like we have literally dozens of stories
Hmm.
like that where it's like
Hmm.
we didn't deserve this. Why are you
Yeah.
doing this for
Hmm.
us?
Hmm.
It literally shifted the way we think about people. And we now have the 9 out of 10 rule, which we use with our staff at Kinship, which is if you believe, essentially like believe the best in people,
Hmm.
9 out of 10 of them
Hmm.
are going to rise to the occasion when you do that.
Yep.
1 out of 10 of them won't. But if
Yep.
you budget for the 1 out of 10, no harm, no foul.
Yep.
Believe the best in people because there's so much freedom that you live in when you just trust that people are good
Yes.
and that they have good intentions and that they're trying to make good decisions.
Hmm.
And they're not trying to like take advantage of you.
Yep.
And yes, there are the people that do take advantage of you. It is a reality. Like we're not naive to that. But if you budget for it emotionally, financially, physically, whatever it might be,
Hmm.
then it's fine. That's just part of life.
Yeah. How else does that concept play out, say, in your regular life? In one of the books that I'm bound to write at some point will be about the way in which hospitality has actually impacts way more than business, although it is the secret sauce of good business. But it's
For sure.
hospitality and leadership and parenting and marriage and sex and
Mhm.
conversations and dreaming and all of it, right?
Yep.
Hospitality transcends it all. How have you seen like the 9 out of 10 rule or this outrageous hospitality impact, say your marriage, being a mom, being a friend, a community leader outside of just being an entrepreneur?
I think, I mean, what's most here's kind of a funny example. So Bobby, as you know, has epilepsy, and it does affect our life on a fairly regular basis, but sometimes his memory is not as great, and there's just some daily ramifications with that. A few weeks ago, he went and took our e-bike to the bike shop. And he completely forgot he did this. Like life is a little crazy right now, business stuff, but like his memory is just not great. And so yesterday we're like going to get our e-bike out of the garage and it's not there. And we're like, "Oh no, where's the bike?" Well, I had no idea he had taken it to the bike shop. And so I run it by him and he's like, "Oh my gosh, I don't know. Where is the bike?" And immediately our kids go to, "Well, who would have taken it out of our garage?" And I could see my kids' heads start thinking through, like start like pinpointing people like in our neighborhood, or oh, well, that random couple that we didn't know that was walking on our street the other day at 7 o'clock in the morning, like maybe they did, you know.
Hmm.
And it was such an incredible opportunity for us to say,
Hmm.
oh, we believe the best in people.
Hmm.
And you don't, it's not our place to judge or assume the worst of people. So I think it's been a very so yeah, it's been very interesting to be able to pass that on to our kids. Like we have taught them the 9 out of 10 rule, and
Hmm.
I was able to walk them through like, hey, the bike is gone. There's literally nothing we can do about it. So we're
Yeah.
not going to be sad about it. We're just going to move on. It's not a big deal. And then last night at 11:30 p.m., Bobby pops his head off the pillow and is like, "It's at the bike shop. I brought it to the bike shop."
Oh, I
And
love that.
then it's like, okay, kids, see, like the bike is, we still have the bike. It's fine.
Yes. Oh,
But
that's
yeah,
so good.
I would say the most powerful thing so far has been teaching our staff that,
Mhm.
because when you're in hospitality, it can be very easy to fall. Like there are people
Yes.
who take advantage of your hospitality. It just happens. Like it's just a
Yes.
part of the game. But when you have a staff that has the lens of we're going to believe the best of you, it
Hmm.
helps people rise to the occasion. Like they feel that, they feel honored, they feel trusted, and they do rise to the occasion.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. I work with a population where people don't typically assume the best out of them. And,
For
it,
sure.
it is crazy to watch when you let
Yeah.
somebody have keys to a building or give them responsibilities that they would never have anywhere else. People who
Yes.
used to be in prison or, who are in sobriety. And you're absolutely right. In fact, not only do they tend to rise to the occasion, I find they often exceed every expectation. I mean, they go so far beyond
Yep.
when you give somebody the space and the chance to do that.
So
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, it's so great. Yeah, people are awesome.
Hmm.
Okay, so you guys are on this trip and you come home and you start telling people um about your dreams. We experience radical hospitality. We travel the world. We want to manifest this kind of hospitality in our own community and with our own people. What you mentioned that so clearly, how community is vital to achieving one's dream. We can't do
Yeah.
it alone. Is there a moment or a story you have where you felt so supported by a particular person or community member that really sort of leveraged that? Like, I'm curious if you could let us into a way in which the community or a person supported you and really got you over the hump or supported a breakthrough in this dream of starting this gorgeous hotel.
Yeah. I have a couple. I mean, I
Yes.
have a million, honestly, but um, I'd say first and foremost, so we had gone back and forth on, where do we put this place? Because
Hmm.
we were trying to find the right property downtown. Initially, we were going to be going over, where Denver Biscuit Company is, like
Hmm.
basically this incredible development project in the heart of downtown that was happening. We were going to go above it, and we were so excited about it. We had renderings for it. we were, ready to jump. Um, and then it was going to be $1 million just to like put the block on
Mm-hmm.
stilts so we could build up. And we're
Mm-hmm.
like, this is just not a good use of money. This feels very like we this feels far-fetched. Like this isn't the right decision.
Mm-hmm.
But we also just felt so sold on that location.
Mm-hmm.
So, a friend of ours introduced us to another business owner downtown that was building these little apartments. And she's like, I just feel like you should sit down with this person. I don't know why. We're like, okay, great. We always said yes to those things. Like
Yep.
even if they're like, we don't know why, it just might be a good
Mm-hmm.
fit. We're like, great, sign us up. What's their number? We go sit down with them. And so we're meeting with this woman, Jenny Elliott, who
Mm-hmm.
like I forever am indebted to her for so much of where we are today. And she's just giving us a tour of her little apartments downtown. And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, sounds like a cool dream you guys have. I mean, I have this, she points to where Kinship is now, this like acre lot in the heart of downtown. She's like, I mean, I own that. Could that work? And we're like, I don't know. I never even considered building a hotel. Like we always thought we'd just like renovate something or utilize another property downtown. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like, yeah, I mean, if you want to buy that, we could put something together. Well, long story short, we ended up putting together terms that were like very challenging to for especially for us being like 27, 28. Um, we had to close in 30 days. We had
Mm-hmm.
no money. Like we were not, again, we're not trust fund babies. Like we just had a dream. And,
Mm-hmm.
we were able to leverage our house and some other things to like get it started. But um she held to 30 days and we were like, okay, we gotta hit the ground running. So that, the due diligence, the underwrite, like trying to figure out like we were like rerouting drills that were going to Denver to like come to Colorado Springs so we could get soil testing and all these things, trying to expedite the process. We get all that and then we're like, cool, we don't have the money to buy this. So how do we do that?
Yep.
And Bobby was sitting in a hot tub with a friend and he's just kind of sharing his story, like sharing where we're at. And our friend says, well, what if I just loaned you the money? Like all of it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, what?
Yep.
Like we didn't even know this person had, any money.
Yep.
So things like that, where it's just like we're
Yep.
sharing, we're open to what's coming. Like
Yes.
we're just moving forward one day at a
Yes.
time, one day at a time, next right decision at a time. We were able to buy the land in 30 days.
Yes.
Um, Another story that I remember is we're sitting in Loyal Coffee,
Mm-hmm.
which we basically lived in Loyal Coffee when,
Mm-hmm.
before we opened because it's right across the street.
Yep.
And we we had some friends from church who also he was the dad of someone I played soccer with like in middle school and high school, like so long ago, but
Mm-hmm.
incredible person. And we sat down and we shared our little investor pitch with him. And he immediately was just like, yep, we're in. We're going to do this. We want to invest in you. We believe in this dream. We believe in you
Mm-hmm.
guys. And
Mm-hmm.
we want to see this come to fruition.
Yes.
And he has been, so he passed away last year. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why it really it hits home for me because I feel like it's people like him who,
Mm-hmm.
the legacy lives on. Like he
Mm-hmm.
invested in us.
Yes.
He spoke words of encouragement into us on a regular basis. Such an incredible human. And it was people like him who,
Mm-hmm.
carried us through all of the
Yep.
hard times.
Yep. I think again, Brooke, what I just really want to emphasize for the listeners, is that like it can always sound like these are just absolutely obscure, crazy stories and miracles. Oh, how about I just loan you all the money?
Hmm.
But like I often say, you can't experience a miracle unless you put yourself in a place where a miracle is necessary.
Yeah, it's true.
And the more that I'm around people like you, I realize that these aren't that crazy of stories. It's
Hmm.
just that most people don't put themselves in a chance for this to happen.
Yeah.
It just, on a smaller scale, we just have been living in this house that we're in for a year. And my
Hmm.
wife and I have never really been able to like swing by in a house um and we had tried to buy a house like 5 years ago. We were
Uh-huh.
under contract, and then the bank said, sorry, we lied. You're actually not approved for any money, or you're not approved for this loan. So then we had to find a place to live. The very next day, a friend of mine calls. He goes, hey, Tyler, I've been
I
praying
remember
for
that
you.
story. Yeah.
yeah, he's like, I've been praying for you. Do you want to stay in my house for whatever you can afford? So then we say yes. We stay there for the last couple years. Great. His brother needed to move in. So he's like, hey, I know the last couple years have been great, but I need you to move out, which of course we had to say yes. So then we had enough money barely for a down deposit. My wife had just been laid off. She was experiencing postpartum. It was one of the hardest seasons of our whole life.
Yep.
So we're paying for therapy and retreat, all this, whatever. And now we have to move. Long story short, we get under contract on this house that we're in right now. And we start the process, doing all the inspections and everything. And the
Mhm.
bank calls and they said, we were looking at stuff and we realized you guys had enough money for the down deposit, but not enough for like your closing costs. Do you have money for closing? And I sat there for a second and we had none money for
You're like,
closing.
yes, we do.
And that's exactly what I said. Yes. And she said, can you sign this paper for us? I just said, we've got to move some money around. And she's like, great. To move forward, can you sign this? And I always joke, I'm like, is this faith or fraud? I don't know, but I'm going to sign the paper. Sign the paper 2 days before, literally 2 days before closing. Um, Somebody Venmoed us $3,000 and just said, she is like pretty much like, you've been mentoring my son. He's been sober for however long, blah, blah, blah. Like this, just my husband, I wanted to give you literally 3 days before closing. But again, like I have, just like you, so many of those stories, but I don't think anymore that it's that I'm just special.
Mhm.
It's that we live where that's necessary and there is an abundance in the world.
Yeah.
It's so good.
More than
So
enough in the world to share.
yes, more than enough. Okay, so you're moving and shaking. You build this hotel, dreaming, traveling the world. Um, Kinship Landing, which is the hotel we've been talking about, that's not even your only business. You have 3 kids. You mentioned just ever so slightly, your husband has epilepsy, which is its own entire thing we could talk about.
Yeah.
Um, Brooke, your life is so perfect. You're so cool. You know all the cool people. The hotel rules. Your kids are fun. Your husband's handsome as hell. Like your life is
True.
so perfect. That is very true. Absolutely. Um, Let us behind the curtain just a little bit for the people that
Yeah.
assume people like you who do crush it and are crushing it, but that simultaneously there's life behind it. How
Mhm.
do you how do you manage that? What does life really look like being a mom and a wife and an entrepreneur and a consultant? And like just help us give us some reality here for what your life looks like and how you manage it, how you exist. Tell us the truth.
It's yeah, a reality for sure. Having 3 kids and a pandemic, opening a very intensive business all at the same time was enough to like do me in. I mean, it
Yes.
was a lot. So from a mental health perspective, from, just even physically, like turns out hotels are 24/7, so it's not like you can just like
Yep.
turn like lock the doors. It's literally open
Yep.
all the time. Your staff is calling you at 3 in the morning. Like the first year was
Mhm.
one of the hardest things I've ever experienced was opening that hotel, managing that hotel. I was the general manager for a year and a half before I had my third son. Um, Handling 2 tiny kids at home. I mean, it was exhausting.
Yep.
I think because we had so much excitement and hope about, and just like we had the passion, like we knew what our vision and our goal was, and so we were able to hold to that on a daily basis. But
Mhm.
like even prior to opening the hotel, there were 5 closed doors. Like there were 5 times that this deal is dead, like it's not going to work.
Mhm.
I'm not going to go into all the details, but it was extremely challenging.
Yep.
And we would say, okay, the deal is dead, kinship isn't happening. And then the next morning we'd wake up and we'd say, or maybe we could just figure it out.
Mhm.
And we would have to problem solve and brainstorm and bring people in, smarter people who, knew how to figure out how to problem solve this stuff.
Yep.
Um, And yeah, and then I think like having kids, I had some health issues with our third son and he was in the NICU and it just it it was a lot. And I had to just make sure that I was caring for myself.
Hmm.
And so, there was a year of just being completely focused on my physical body, my emotional health, my mental well-being, like my spiritual health. Like faith is a huge thing for Bobby and I both, leaning on that. And I think it's being aware of like when you're
Hmm.
seeing yourself
Hmm.
go down that trail, of taking the necessary steps to care for yourself in that
Yep.
time. And it was like I personally feel like I have never been in a healthier place mentally and emotionally,
Wow.
um, because I have put the work in. But that doesn't mean it's not hard. Like every day is
Yeah.
hard. It is such it is such a roller coaster to be a
Hmm.
business owner, especially post pandemic when there's really no recipe for it. Like,
Yes.
hospitality, hotels, food and beverage, all of that. Like there is no recipe for it right now. It is throw stuff at the wall, see what works,
Yep.
um, be nimble,
Hmm.
trial and error. It's very, very challenging. And we've had some of the lowest lows we have ever had in the last 7 years, of our lives, and also some of the highest highs. Like that's just it comes with the territory, really incredible, high, wonderful days, and then just some of the lowest low
Yep.
days. And that's,
Yep.
obviously like that's not something you share on a social media platform, that it's
Sure.
our closest friends and family who have
Hmm.
walked through some of those low, challenging days with us, and we are completely indebted to them. I mean, I
Yep.
have poured my heart out to so many of my closest friends who unfortunately have gone through just so much of the saga with us. It's just not easy, but it's worth it in the end.
Yes. You mentioned awareness. You've got to take care of yourself and you've got to be aware of how you're doing spiritually and mentally and physically. What are some
Mhm.
of the things you do that help you maintain that awareness? Because
Yeah,
like you can't work on your physical health or your mental health. Because I can remember when I was starting Loyal, and I would sleep at Loyal, like I would sleep overnight in the
yeah,
janitor's closet,
for sure.
and like I just was not aware how messed up I was. Now my wife was, and we had to work through that many years later. But
Yeah,
um,
yep,
but I
yep.
just wasn't aware.
Hmm.
How do you, being so busy, maintain an awareness of what you need? And then secondly, what are some of the things you specifically do for yourself, physically, mentally,
Yeah.
spiritually? um I would love for you to talk about your silent retreats if you're willing,
Oh yeah,
because I am a lover of all
love it.
things
I know.
silence.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how do you stay awake, and what are some of the specific things Brooke does to take care of Brooke?
I was really, I would say because I'm an Enneagram 3 and I'm an achiever
Mhm.
and I love to check boxes and I love, just doing all the things.
Mhm.
It was years, especially with kinship, of just proving myself. I can do it. I can do it. I can
Mhm.
do it. And it got to a point where I just had to face the facts. Like I can't do it.
Yes.
Like I can't do it on my own strength. And 2023, January 1st, 2023, that was my year to focus
Mm.
inward and to just like
Mhm.
take a deep look at who I was and what I actually needed. And, for me, that was regular exercise, like three
Mhm.
to five times a week of strength training, which has changed my life. Um, Therapy,
Mhm.
getting a really great therapist who
Yes.
can just listen and
Mhm.
speak into you. Um, Friendships,
Mhm.
being open and vulnerable and honest,
Yeah.
because you can have really great friends, but not actually share what
Mhm.
is going on in you. And so I think being really vulnerable with people, um, eating well, like
Mhm.
focusing on what is going into my body. And yeah, I just think like, yeah, the silent retreat too is another one. That was a habit that I started in 2023 as well, which
Mhm.
taking a weekend away. Now this, you are like next level silent retreat guy.
Thank you.
This is like a, a very introductory thing for me, which I'm like super extrovert and love talking. So
Mhm.
I find it a success that I can even do 8 hours. But
That's amazing.
we do this retreat every year. A dear friend of mine who I kind of came on board, she was the one who was already doing these retreats, but I just fell in love with it. And so her and I
Mhm,
co-host it each spring for about 25 women. And we go to the mountains
mhm,
and we have wonderful meals together, but we take 8 hours to be completely silent.
mhm,
And it is insane
mhm.
what happens when your brain, like just your thoughts, your well-being, your everything that changes and shifts
Yes,
when you're just quiet.
yes,
And so that was also a huge one. But I think ultimately, just even in the midst of kids, because I am the primary caretaker of these three little boys, and they require so much time and energy. Um, and I had to recognize that if I don't take care of myself first, I will
yes.
not have the time, I will not have the energy or the
Mhm,
love or support to pour into them. And
yeah,
so it just got to a point where like this is survival mode. Like if I
mhm,
want to care for my family and my kids, I have to care about
yes,
myself.
yes.
And time is not an excuse.
Mm-mm,
You can find the time.
mhm,
As you know, as long as you
mhm,
have, so if you have people around you or support, even, a spouse, like figuring out a schedule where you can take even just an hour to yourself a day,
mhm.
that is such a game changer.
Yes. Mm, yes. Oh, yeah. That you even just talking about the 8 hours and it makes me almost want to cry. Like it is so powerful,
So
the
powerful. Yeah.
silence, and it just it's and now more than ever.
Yeah, it's true. Now more than ever.
Now more than ever. I mean, for what it's worth, just a little side quest. Like even in your car, you guys like to just not have a podcast on for one run, even if it's most of your runs you do, but for one, just don't put in the headphones or on your small commute. It really will make a difference.
Yeah.
It really will. Just
Yeah.
these little Easter eggs of silence will truly can help transform so much.
Because someone like me, I
Mhm.
am constantly trying to be productive.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so when I'm in the car, I'm like, what book can I be
Mhm,
listening to?
mhm,
What
mhm.
podcast can I be listening to? And I do. I have to take those days where it's like, today I'm not going to ingest
Yes,
anything
yes.
that I'm
Mhm,
not going to let my brain think about things. I'm going to
mhm.
let my brain be.
Yes.
And those days are so important. Like we
Yeah.
have to take that. And I think we need to take them like at least once a week.
Mhm.
Don't be trying to throw stuff in there and trying to learn all the
Yeah.
time. Like that's great, but like not all the time.
Mhm.
You need to just take some time to be.
It makes me think, Brooke, you were just mentioning being a three. I'm a four. I'm very four-esque, but I have a lot of three in me as
Uh-huh.
well.
Yep.
And like, Henry now, and he'll say the three biggest lies we believe are I am what I have, I am what I do, like you mentioned, and I
Yep.
am what other people say about me.
Yep.
But there's this essence of our identity being the beloved of God that
Mm-hmm.
is independent of that. And I
Mm-hmm.
can't help but notice, Brooke, how you had said just a minute ago, like, I had to realize that I can't do it all. It's like the
Mm-hmm.
first step in sobriety. I'm powerless, actually. I can't do it all. I can't do this by myself.
Yep.
And how that sort of started to tie into these moments of silence as well, of saying, I'm not what I do. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not how many boxes I check off. And
Yep.
then you engage in a practice of not doing.
Mm-hmm.
And ironically, the more we do that, the more we can do. The more we are able to pour out.
Yeah.
Um, yes. You mentioned as we'll start wrapping it up here in a second. You guys are so deep. Um, Bobby has epilepsy,
Mm-hmm.
which is a scary thing to have your spouse um exist with a condition.
You know
Um,
all about it. Yep.
I do. Um, how has that impacted your life? Like you
Mm-hmm.
guys already are sort of like memento mori people. Like you live like there's no tomorrow. You chase your dreams. It's you guys didn't need the epilepsy to like make the most of your life. But I'm be curious, how has that impacted the way in which you guys live? And again, just giving some vulnerable access to like
Yeah.
y'all are amazing, and yet that's a terrifying, scary thing to hold.
Mm-hmm.
What has that looked like for you, and maybe for people who are sick, people who
Mm-hmm.
do have uncertainty in their life, maybe even financially? Maybe they just got a divorce and they don't know what their future is going to hold. Like you guys don't all the way know what your future is going to look like, especially you. How have you worked through that, and how do you hold such a complex tension in your story?
Bobby kind of had onset epilepsy starting when he was 15.
Oh,
So
interesting.
it was literally right when we started dating. He
Got
had
it.
a
So it's
car accident.
always been a part of the story.
Yep.
Huh.
Well, and he had it. He had the first one in his own home
Uh-huh.
the night of Christmas, and then his second one was a car accident, like right after we had started kind of hanging out.
Mhm.
And so it's always been a part of our story. I had considered going into the medical field, and I feel like that passion of mine has been because I've had to care for my husband in a lot of
Mhm.
different circumstances. So
Mhm.
over the course of the last 20 years, he has had 15 grand mal seizures.
Mhm.
It's fairly controlled with medication, but it is still a daily reality that we face. If he misses his medication one time, it's a guaranteed grand mal seizure.
Mhm.
And by the time you've missed your meds, the seizures already happen. So people are like, we're human. And
Mhm.
he can do his darn best to remember his meds. And we've got systems and we've
Yep.
got accountability. There's an amazing app that if anyone sees this and
Mhm.
needs some sort of accountability with medication, it's called MediSafe. And it's been a game changer for us
Mhm.
because it actually notifies like as many people as you want if
Mhm.
you miss your medication. And so there's all this research about like the social pressure of if
Wow.
you don't want to burden other people, and so
Yep.
you take your meds every
Love
single
it.
time. And Bobby has not missed his medication once since he started using this app like 3 years ago.
Huh.
However, recently had a breakthrough seizure. Last year he had a breakthrough seizure, which means that he was on his medication and he still had a seizure. So we've had to increase his dosage. And, there's more to the story, but ultimately, I would say it has just I have had to imagine what my life would look like without
Mhm.
a spouse because we have been in plenty of situations where I wasn't sure he was going to make it or it just happened to like we were meeting with an investor um, and we were on the interstate. Bobby was going 85 miles an hour because we were late. And literally 3 minutes later, he had a seizure on the floor as we were walking
Mhm.
into meet with an investor at a
Mhm.
restaurant. There have been so many situations where is it God protecting him? Is it coincidence? I don't know. Like
Yep.
he's been okay, but
Mhm.
it really is kind of just the luck of the draw of where he is when he has it because
Yep.
they're up to 5 minutes long and very, very intensive on his body.
Mhm.
So ends up being like a long healing process. Sometimes it's a few days, sometimes this past one, it was months.
Mhm.
And it was very, very trying for us. But I think I've had to imagine what does my
Mhm.
life look like as a single mom? This previous year, it was a lot of, mental gymnastics and
Mhm.
thinking through just, am I prepared? Like
Yep.
even just the practical stuff of like end of life planning and all of that. Like, am I prepared to be a
Mhm.
single mom with
Mhm.
our businesses, with our house, with all of the things that we have to deal with on a regular basis, all the things he does that I don't see.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I think it has been a lot of just being realistic about what life could look like without
Mhm.
him. And then kind of that like tension of what a
Mhm.
gift it is that we have today. And
Yes.
so I have sat in pity parties of like, I hate that we have to live this way, but ultimately I have to say like today is a gift. Every
Yes.
time I watch him put the meds in his mouth, I say, woohoo, another 24 hours with Bobby Mikulas.
Yes.
And we have to live that way. There's no other
Mhm.
option. Um, but yeah, it's not
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
So in your ability to find that daily gratitude,
Hmm.
what in what ways is that made manifest? So often we live in the future. One of the things I often teach is anxiety primarily lives in the future. When we're future tripping, we're wondering about what's going to happen, and it's like, and we bring it into our present moment. These
Yeah.
moments of gratitude, how does that impact how you live with your kids and your business
Mhm.
as this thing that your husband experiences activates a sense of daily gratitude for you?
Yeah.
How does somebody do that? How do you increase your gratitude or your presence of the moment?
I think it really can be challenging. I'm not sure it's something it can be taught in some ways, but I really think unless you have experienced
Mhm.
a life altering, like,
Mhm.
what you went through,
Mhm.
um, what like there is something to like you've had a close one pass away tragically, or
Mhm.
you've seen the fragility of life. If you have never experienced the fragility of life, I think it can be taught, but it's never really like
Yes.
fully learned
Yes.
in your soul. And so for me, I almost feel like it's a gift that he has epilepsy because
Mm.
I now see the world differently. Like
Mhm.
I am able to wake up and say, today is the only day we have. And what am I going to do with
Yeah.
it?
Yep.
It's not just, oh, okay, let's just get through this next month. Let's just get through. We're taking it like literally hour by hour in our
Mhm.
family. And that's not something people always know. They don't need to know, but that's just something like the way that
Yep.
we have to live. And and so I think it's so critical to be present.
Mhm.
And it has helped us be more present. It's helped me be so much more present with my kids, to remember what's really important, all the fleeting things that I used to care about that I just don't anymore.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
again, I mean, I think we can share it all we want, but there
Yep.
is a sense of like
Yep.
the gravity of it hits when you've
Mhm.
dealt with it personally.
Yeah. No, it's so good. Yeah, and the rule of Saint Benedict, which I study a lot, he says, "Keep death daily before your eyes."
Mhm.
And at first, when I used to read that, I thought like, that's just so, so morbid and so like whatever. And then it's like it's been since my aneurysm diagnosis, it's been such a gift. And it's like I get that now. Which is so interesting because my mom was sick my whole life and we always were wondering about her dying, but for
Mhm.
it didn't catch on in the same way until it was in like my own brain and I have kids and then, my family has always contemplated death, but it's impacted my life in a different way over the last handful of years. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate your vulnerability and thanks for sharing about that.
Yeah, for sure.
You also have another project in the midst
Mhm.
of all of this called Sonderwind.
Mhm.
Let the people know a little bit about what that is and what your dreams are with that, how that has been made manifest. Paint a picture for us what that new dream
Yeah.
and passion looks like.
I think just over the course of time, Bobby, again, like we've always been about like what are the gaps, what are the needs, and we have seen, over the course of time,
Mhm.
just people who are wanting to see their dreams come to fruition.
Yes.
And us feeling like, okay, we just had a lot of trial and error, and we just experienced a lot over the last 8 years that we feel, we can help encourage you in your
Mhm.
journey. So, there's kind of two sides of it. One is consulting. So we do consult with, startups, businesses who are wanting to either grow or get to go or no go, as we call it.
Mhm.
And then, in addition to that, we also host workshops and retreats and adventure trips. This is more of a passion project for us. We really love being able to utilize our space and other amazing spaces
Mhm.
regionally and also internationally for just some really incredible time together to
Yeah.
learn and grow. It could be corporate groups, it could be small groups, it could be
Mhm.
masterminds, whatever it might be. And a lot of different variety of topics, but that's something we've just been able to have a lot of fun with.
Yeah.
So, yep.
So as we start to wrap up, here you are with this new project helping people chase dreams. We touched on this a lot, but a lot of what this podcast is, whether we're talking about sobriety or spirituality or entrepreneurship, um, like I think the core theme of what's evolving here is transformation, becoming our best self, achieving our goals and our dreams.
Yeah.
What would and what are, as we start to wrap up, some of your core messages, maybe as it pertains to Sonderwind or just as you mentor other people to say, listen, like I'm not content with where I am. I want something to change. There's a dream that I have or a transformation I want to experience in my life. What are some of the core pillars that you would offer in your consulting on these retreats or just with a person over coffee, encouraging them or teaching them from your trial and error when it comes to manifesting a dream or experiencing life transformation?
For us, it's two things that we've already talked about
Yeah.
today. But number one, communicate,
Hmm.
vocalize, share it.
Yes.
It isn't real unless it's real to you.
Hmm.
And so get it out in the world. Let people hear about it. If you are keeping it inside, it will not come to fruition.
Mhm.
Um, so share it, share it, share it, share it.
Mhm.
Even if you feel like a fraud, because
Mhm.
guess what? We were very much fake it till you make it
Yes.
until we
Yeah.
made it, but we faked it for a long time.
Yes.
We had to. Um, it, the more you share about it, the more it becomes a reality. And then two, don't do it alone.
Mhm.
And this is what, for Bobby and I, like, we have seen the value and the importance of having a community and someone cheering you on to
Yes.
accomplish your dreams. And so our hope is that this is a season that we can do that for people.
Yep.
But it's not just us, like every community, no matter where you are, there are people who want to cheer you on.
Yes.
You have to be the first one to take the step.
Mhm.
So don't do it alone. Find who those people are. They are there. You just need to find them.
Yep. So good. Brooke, where can people find you? Where can they interact with you? Plug all your good stuff for a second.
Thanks, Tyler. Let's see. Okay, Kinship Landing, downtown Colorado Springs, boutique hotel, restaurant, Homa Cafe and Bar. Come try some food from our new menu and come hang out. It's a
Yep.
great place to work, great place to meet people, have an event, etc. And then sonderwind.com has kind of our all of our other offerings.
Awesome. And
Yep.
I'll of course link that below. Everyone, thanks for spending some time with me and Brooke. Her and her husband Bobby are some people my wife and I admire to the moon. Brooke's brother's one of my best friends in the world. This has just been an honor to get to host you and platform you and everything you're about because we believe in you, love you, are all about you, and I can't wait for everybody around the world. Believe it or not, there are people around the world listening to this podcast.
You can believe it or not, you're Tyler Hill, of
I don't
course.
know. It's crazy. So I can't wait for more people to learn about you. Thanks for the love, the vulnerability, and let's keep going, okay?
Thanks, Tyler.
All
Appreciate
right.
you.